Just waiting on Biden. What happened to the music? Sorry about that. It looks like my connection was dropped for a second there. But now we're back. Unreal. So what happens when you're in an Airbnb with terrible internet. How's everyone? We're just waiting on Biden to get started. Good Lord knows when that is. Always say, it's be 1 o'clock. Never is. This song is driving me nuts. Surprise me. What is this? It's too much. Song was starting to drive me nuts. Alright. How's everyone? Get in the chat, say something. Got a bunch of people watching, streaming on specifically talking to you. Sometimes with music, you gotta do what's free, royalty free. All right, no breakdown. Oh, I can't do that song. Yeah, what is he doing? You know, they said 1 o'clock. It's turning into 1:15. Will Biden take any questions is the real question, if you will. Who thinks Biden is going to take any questions? Oh, jeez. I was going to say like B12, but you went right for it. How long does it take for that to kick in? I thought it was seconds. It must not be very good. It just gets some of that heroin from Afghanistan. We no longer have those fields anymore, so... Golly, I'm tempted to go make some more coffee. One time he made me wait for like 30 minutes. I'm kind of hoping he doesn't do that again.
Do you get tired of your misery?
All men and women created by go. You know the thing.
Ain't gonna change over time.
Ugh. I can't stand stupid lyrics. Like, make me want to pull my hair out.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Evening from the UK. Hey, cheers. Sherry, oh, we're still waiting for the class. Yeah, we are waiting for Joe Biden to speak. How is the UK, Aquamark? I'm glad the Premier League's back. I don't know if you're into the El Football as much as I am, but just glad for some. Hey, Cheech, Canada, shout out. How's the lockdowns going? Are you obeying your overlords there? Man, come on. Wake up, Biden. Biden hasn't finished his ice cream yet. I told him to 2 scoops. Yeah, that's a mistake. Sometimes 2 scoops is too many. Sometimes just a good 1 scoop is enough to fulfill your satisfying. But Biden's a 2 scoop guy. I've seen him. He loves the double scoop. All good, sir? Oh, good. Good to hear, Aquamark. I feel like I haven't had ice cream in months. I could really go for some ice cream. Maybe that's like a thing. To eat ice cream during his press conferences. No, never. Oh, man. I'm about to make some more coffee. Again, I'm sorry if you don't like the music. It's royalty-free music. There's only so much I can choose from. And YouTube not tell me to take my video down. It's like... Sometimes I feel like it's not live and I have to refresh it. Look at... Oh, I love all the thumbs down. Live. Fire! I don't even care. I love that people take the time to do that, though. Like, I get so happy when I get thumbs down on my videos. I mean, I'm more happy when I get thumbs up, but the times I get a thumbs down, I'm like, yeah. Someone disagrees with me, or they just like to watch the world burn. Oh, I'm drinking out of a French press, and I just got like a mouthful of freaking grounds. Oh, whatever, it makes you stronger. Come on, Bitey. Hey, subscriber, thank you. Aquamark, shout out to Aquamark. The most popular president ever. Yeah. That's kind of an unbelievable statement to be made. I don't know if you've seen the reports of have you guys seen the reports of the redacted ABC interview he had, where they just redacted so much of what he said, all the stuff that made absolutely no sense out of his mouth? I think the Daily Wire has a whole full write-up of everything he said and was redacted, which makes sense. I mean, you got to redact some of the things he said because it's absolutely incoherent, but it's kind of unreal. But yeah, Aquamark, the big question is, will Biden answer? I don't know if you saw the press secretary or the comm person. She came out and said, Biden has never strayed away from questions. I'm like, what is it like to just lie through your teeth every single day of the rest of your life? No logical thinking person would ever think, yeah, Biden answers every question. No, Trump always did that, and it always got him in trouble. So, Biden is not that way, because Biden would get in trouble every time. Ugh. God, that song is terrible. Uh-oh. Get some yas. The old 1 o'clock announcement. Why do they do this? waste my time. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that we'll eventually go back into war with Afghanistan as Biden is sending more troops in? I kind of wonder. Whoa, this song just took a turn. These people have zero conscience whatsoever. Yeah. I think, well, you get to a point in your life where if you lie so much, the lies mean less and less and less, so that you just say what you need to say as opposed to what is true. I find and that's really disappointing. This will begin shortly nonsense is killing me. No empathy. Yeah, no empathy. Yeah, when Biden was like, oh, that happened like 3 or 4 days ago. And you're like, a guy jumped off a plane because he fell off and essentially committed suicide. I shouldn't be taken so lightly. Okay, that song is too much for me. At one time in my life, I wanted to go into politics, but I just feel like I don't have the stomach to just lie to people all day long. I don't have it. The media would hate me because I would just tell the truth every time. I just like, what's the point in lying to people? They already know the answer. I think a lot of these politics think that we're like in the 60s or 50s where there's not much information being put out there. But with the internet, it's just more beneficial to not lie because you'll get caught eventually. Okay. Oh my god. Waiting for that drip. Yeah. Yeah. It is late. It's very late. They're always late. They always make me wait forever. Sometimes like, oh yeah, I'll go live for a press conference, and then they're late every time. Why? They're waiting for that drip. Uh-oh. I thought I just saw it twitch. I'm gonna reload this. No. Come on, mate. I mean, this is... Maybe they're editing the film. Yeah, they're redacting some of his statements already, like the previous interview. Oh, the film of Biden. He's an editing person's nightmare. I'm gonna refresh this. I don't know why I did, because it doesn't change anything. Nothing. Well, I thought I could will it. Let's see. I'll be right back. I have to go to the thumbs down. Yeah, you got to add to the thumbs down. I did. 1.8. I wouldn't put it past them. Big size. So why'd you decide to speak on this? This picture of the Taliban shouldn't make me laugh because they're evil and terrible people, but I'll change it. There we go. Isn't she lovely? Video game music, yeah, thank you. It's royalty-free music, so I don't get my channel taken down. Yeah, all the weapons by proxy that Biden got elected. Yeah, I know. CNN is definitely culpable because they fortified the election. I've kind of been impressed with CNN for the actual journalism taking place in Kabul. I'm like, wow, why don't you guys just do this? I don't see any other, reporter that's going down like CNN is. So shout out to that girl. I mean, she said some silly things like those guys that were shouting death to America. And she was like, they seem pretty friendly. But she had a little spiel today that you should find on the internet. It's pretty good about her just saying that this was a total failure and totally messed up. Come on.
Come on, man.
Exactly.
All men and women created by you know the thing.
I mean, this is ridiculous. I've been live I didn't even go live on time because I was like, I knew he was going to be late. But I didn't know he was going to be this late. Walking the lone streets. Getting stronger. Okay, I can't do bad lyrics. It's just bad. I'm about to go make some more coffee. And again, apologize for my lighting. I don't have my green screen with me. I'm out and about. I wanted to hear what he had to say before he went back to Delaware for... I think Biden's sick. I'm going to be honest. I think there's something wrong with Biden medically. And I'm not jokingly saying that, but I think it's gradually gotten worse, and that's why he's taking more vacation, and he's like going to Delaware this weekend and stuff like that. There's something weird going on. That's not saying that I want something weird to go on, because God, do I not want Kamala Harris as the leader. I think she's way worse. Dude, adult diapers. I get it. I have lots of family members that are nurses, and that's all they talk about is changing adult diapers and wiping butts. That's why you got to be healthy, people. So you don't have to have a nurse wipe your butt when you're in your 50s. Or maybe you want that. I don't know. No judgment. This is a judgment-free zone. Has anybody noticed how orange Biden has gotten in his last interviews? I kind of love it. Orange man bad. Or maybe decided, since the media decided that he's done a terrible job on Afghanistan, they're painting him more orange. So you have some kind of weird PTSD thing when you see an orange face. I don't know what to think. God, hurry up. I have things to do. Got things to do, people to see. What if he just doesn't show up? I mean, there have been times where I'll be watching and they just like cut the stream. When the government has a direct correlation with its reliability. Yeah, I do too. I think, well, you know, they always say showing up late to meetings is a sign that usually you don't have your you know what together. It's not a good look to be late. Even in life, but especially as a president. Especially, okay, this song is starting to drive me nuts. Especially with something so important to talk about is this. All right, hurry up. I'm ready to go hiking. If he is an hour late, it is a terrible look. Give Biden a break. Adult diapers can be... Yeah, thank you, Beep Beep. I appreciate that. Putting in this perspective, Beep Beep is an advocate for people that are wearing adult diapers. Don't mess with Beep Beep in the diapers. But feel free to ask Beep Beep what diapers to get in case. I tend to go after the Costco size of adult diapers because I just believe in what they have in their products. When he was in hiding during the election run, I believe they implanted a Bluetooth speaker behind his right ear so they can tell him what to say, but Biden gets confused. I've heard that too. I don't know what it is. I think it's just old age, but I'm here for those kind of conspiracy theories. I'm here for it. I love it. I'm not the kind of person that thinks that we should censor conspiracy theories. I want them out. I want to talk about them. Even if they make me laugh. You might have called it, maybe he won't show. I know. The dude, the dude better show. Maybe Saki's is Biden new makeup artist? I can see that too. Biden changed makeup artist. I even made my lighting here to make me look more red and orange. It's a good vibe for me. It's like... Oh my gosh. I mean, what are we waiting for? I love it that they disabled the chat. I wish they would enable stuff. I mean, because that's part of the fun.
Come on, man.
They're conspiracy realities. Yeah. Yes, some definitely are. I feel like the ones they really get mad about, it makes you wonder why. Because if they were like silly conspiracy theories, I would just allow it. The ones that are like, hey, don't say that. You're like, maybe this conspiracy theory is not a conspiracy theory. Good Lord, this is slow. Hey, Tiger Man. Welcome to the channel. I'm currently waiting for Joe Biden. I don't know what your thoughts are. We thought he's eating ice cream, changing his adult diapers, getting his drugs, his B12 injection. I don't know what your thoughts are, but he is coming up on 40 minutes late.
Come on, man.
Come on, man. I could have made more coffee. Come on, Biden. Will he make it to 40? Someone wake up Joey. I know. I think they're just going over the lines probably.
Now you gotta say it this way. Don't go off script. Don't go off script. I know this is a big word. Afghanistan. Say it with me. Don't mess up that word.
Or maybe this is Kamala Harris finally coming out and telling us she's really the president. She's prepping. She's having her moment. Remember when he made out he broke his ankle and the doctor went to the basement yes, and the ankle was yeah. I remember when he broke his ankle. Did a lot of that. I just can't believe the one debate between him and hey, Tiger Man. Yeah, I go live almost every day, dude. Or dudette. I'm assuming you're dead because you got Tiger Man. I go live every day, almost. I try to go as much as I possibly can. This isn't my full-time job, but I wish it was. You know what I mean? Come on, Biden. I usually do a live show every day, and I try to get that out at certain times. But I also don't just have a live show for the sake of a live show. I like to find something that's actually interesting to talk about and then talk about it. I don't want to just be one of those channels that just feel like, oh, I'm required to do this, and I just try to make something out of nothing or just like rehash something I've already talked about. I don't want to be a repetitive channel. I want to have original ideas and original thoughts every day as opposed to just,
well, we have time slots. We're just going to talk about things I've already talked about.
Or just talk about stupid issues that are absolutely meaningless. So my goal is always to talk about things that actually mean something. Because I have a life too. I'm not just, I don't want to just put out crap content that people are like, oh, okay, cool. What a waste of time. I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste my time. Dude, I identify as... Yeah, everyone, please put your pronouns in the chat box, or else I don't know how to talk to you. You like tiger, tigress? I think that's from that one. Oh my, dude, he's going on an hour late. This is just silly. Why did I mean, I'm glad I did this because I'm glad you guys are in the chat talking. But good God, this is late. This administration is the most high school AV club tier class. Yeah. You know, when the media was pushing Biden and Kamala Harris like this loving figures, I'm like, have you never watched anything they've done before? Nobody likes them. I mean, Obama didn't even really like Biden. He distanced himself all the time. And so like Crazy Joe. So, I mean, it's just ridiculous that this is what happens when people try to push, like corporations try to push, you're going to want this, you're going to want this, you're going to like this, they're good people. And you're like, but I got this feeling in my gut that they're not. And they're showing their true colors. Hey, I appreciate that, Sherry. I try to be funny. I mean, I don't try to be... I like to make fun. I like to punch up. I'll never be a channel that punches down. I make fun of the media mainly because they're idiots. Like, I don't know if you saw my video yesterday about the Biggie Smalls thing. That was just absolutely ridiculous. Oh my... Come on. I mean, what? All right. We got 2.2 thousand dislikes. Oh, no. I bet this speech is going to be like 5 minutes long. We're going to wait an hour for 2 minutes of content.
I will not be subscribing to that channel.
Come on, man.
Pelosi probably has shares on phone companies that said keep it delayed so that people would be using extra. Just yeah. Are they announcing General? Yeah. I wish General Milley would retire. Good Lord. Always trust your gut. It'll never steer you wrong when something goes wrong, often because you doubted your instinct and made a choice. Yeah, that tends to be true. I mean, there have been times that maybe I just went on my intuition and it led me astray as well. But People like Biden will, with dementia, have their highs and lows. Joe's probably out of space. He might be. Yeah, I know people with dementia, and it's really sad to watch. And it's the more I watch Joe Biden, the more it makes you wonder. And I've seen the studies of ice cream and dementia and how it helps. So say what you. This is what happens when you just constantly lie to people all the time about information and then call things misinformation that's actually true. Is people just don't trust you anymore, and so you have you have crazy or like logical ideas, and they can't blame you for that because they lie to you. It's like I worked with kids for so long. As a teacher and as somebody in education like myself, I got out of education because it was way too liberal for me, but you saw the teachers that would just like kind of fabricate things all the time, and kids stopped trusting them. I mean, it's just, you're the same. My dad has these, that's really sad, man. That sucks. Dementia freaking sucks. But I don't know. It's like, should we be electing people to lead a country at this age? At his age? Should there be some kind of physical requirements? Like in the olden days where you if you wanted to go to war, you led your people to war. I wish we could go back to that. It's like, okay, you want to go to war? You lead them. Physically. Not behind the scenes. Because then you have skin in the game. Then you have to like actually believe in what you're going to war for, as opposed to just, we're done. We're going to pull out and screw an entire nation.
What are you gonna do?
When they said 1 p.m. announcement, maybe they meant 2. Okay, I can't do that song. It was too much. He's on. Well, where's the YouTube? Why is this YouTube not working then? Let's see. Oh, finally.
I just met with the Vice President, Secretary Blinken, Secretary Austin, National Security Advisor Sullivan, and other members of the National Security Leadership Team.
I really understand him.
The Situation Room to discuss our ongoing efforts to evacuate American citizens, third country civilians, Afghan allies, and vulnerable Afghans. And I want to provide the American people with a brief update on the situation in Afghanistan. Since I spoke to you on Monday, we've made significant progress. We've secured the airport, enabling flights to resume, not just military flights, but civilian charters from other countries, and the NG out civilians and vulnerable Afghans. And now we have almost 6,000 troops on the ground, including the 82nd Airborne, providing runway security, the Army 10th Mountain Division standing guard around the airport, and the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit assisting the civilian departure. This is one of the largest, most difficult airlifts in history, and the only country in the world capable of projecting this much power on the far side of the world with this degree of precision is the United States of America. We've already evacuated more than 18,000 people since July and approximately 13,000 since our military airlift began on August the 14th. Thousands more have been evacuated on private charter flights facilitated by the U.S. government. These numbers include American citizens and permanent residents, as well as their families. It includes SIV applicants and their families, those Afghans who have worked alongside us, served alongside of us, gone into combat with us, and provided invaluable assistance to us, such as translators and interpreters.
I'm worried about Anthony.
The United States stands by its commitment that we've made to these people, and it includes other vulnerable Afghans, such as women leaders and journalists. In fact, working in close coordination with the management of the New York Times, the Washington Post, and the Wall Street Journal, we have successfully evacuated all 204 of their employees in Afghanistan on U.S. military aircraft earlier this week. We've established the flow of flights, and we've increased the number of people we're moving out of the country. We paused flights in Kabul a few hours this morning to make sure we could process the arriving evacuees at the transit points. But our commander in Kabul has already given the order for outbound flights to resume.
Tired?
Even with the pause, we've moved out 5,700 evacuees yesterday. And we're working on a variety to verify that number of the Americans are still in country as we work on this, because don't have the exact number of people who are Americans who are there, and those who may have come home to the United States. We want to get a strong number as to exactly how many people are there, how many American citizens, and where they are. Just yesterday, among the many Americans we evacuated, there were 169 Americans who we got over the wall into the airport using military assets. We're also facilitating flights for our allies and our partners, and working in close operational coordination with NATO on this evacuation. For example, we provided overwatch for the French convoy bringing hundreds of their people from the French embassy to the airport. These operations are going to continue over the coming days before we complete our drawdown. We're going to do everything that we can to provide safe evacuation for our Afghan allies, partners, and Afghans who might be targeted because of their association with the United States. But let me be clear. Any American who wants to come home, we will get you home. But make no mistake, this evacuation mission is dangerous. It involves risks to our armed forces, and it's being conducted under difficult circumstances. I cannot promise what the final outcome will be, or what it will be, that it will be without risk of loss. But as Commander-in-Chief, I can assure you that I will mobilize every resource necessary. And as an American, I offer my gratitude to the brave men and women of the U.S. Armed Forces who are carrying out this mission. They're incredible. And as we continue to work the logistics of evacuation, we're in constant contact with the Taliban, working to ensure civilians have safe passage to the airport. We are particularly focused on our engagements on making sure every American who wants to leave can get to the airport. Where we have been seeing challenges with Americans, for Americans, we have thus far been able to resolve them. We've made clear to the Taliban that any attack on our forces or disruption of our operations at the airport will be met with swift and forceful response. We're also keeping a close watch on any potential terrorist threat at or around the airport, including from the ISIS affiliates in Afghanistan who were released from prison when the prisons were emptied. And because they are, by the way, and make everybody understand that the ISIS in Afghanistan have been the sworn enemy of the Taliban. I've said all along, we're going to retain a laser focus on our counterterrorism mission, working in close coordination with our allies and our partners, and all those who have an interest in ensuring stability in the region. Secretary Blinken is with me today, met this morning with our NATO allies in consultation about the way forward, so that Afghanistan cannot be used in the future as a terrorist base to attack the United States or our allies. For 20 years, Afghanistan has been a joint effort with our NATO allies. We went in together,
so my
and we're leaving together. Good. And now we're working together to bring our people and our Afghan partners.
It's also just him talking.
In the past few days,
my internet's
I've
good,
also spoken directly with the British Prime Minister, Mr. Johnson, Chancellor Merkel of Germany, and President Macron of France. We all agreed that we should convene, and we will convene, the G7 meeting next week, a group of the world's leading democracies, so that together we can coordinate our mutual approach, our united approach on Afghanistan and moving forward. We are united with our closest partners to execute the mission at hand.
Do it later.
We've also discussed the need to work with the international community to provide humanitarian assistance
sounds
such
like
as
he-
food aid and
he's
medical
asleep.
care for refugees who have crossed into neighboring countries to escape the Taliban, and to bring international pressure on the Taliban with respect to the treatment of the Afghan people overall, but including Afghan, particularly women and girls. The past week has been heartbreaking. We've seen gut-wrenching images of panicked people acting out of sheer desperation. You know, it's completely understandable. They're frightened. They're
Here comes his
sad,
empathy.
uncertain what happens next. I don't think any one of us can see these pictures and not feel that pain on a human level.
It was 2 days ago.
Now we have a mission to complete in Afghanistan. It's an incredibly difficult and dangerous operation for our military. We have almost 6,000 of America's finest fighting men and women at the Kabul airport. And we're putting their lives on the line, and they're doing it in a dangerous place to save other Americans, our Afghan allies, and citizens of our allies who went in with us. You know, I talk to our commanders on the ground there every single day,
We had a little freeze.
as I just did an hour or so ago.
Uh-oh.
And I made
It's
it
getting
clear
bad.
to them that we'll get them whatever they need to do the job. They're performing to the highest standard under extraordinarily difficult and dynamic circumstances. Our NATO allies are strongly standing with us, their troops keeping sentry alongside ours in Kabul, as is the case whenever I deploy our troops into harm's way. I take that responsibility seriously. I carry that burden every day, just as I did when I was vice president and my son was deployed to Iraq for a year. There'll be plenty of time to criticize and second guess when this operation is over. But now, I'm focused on getting this job done. I would ask every American to join me in praying for the women and men
Don't criticize
risking
me.
their lives
Criticize
on
me
the
when it's
ground in
done.
the service of our nation.
May God protect
As
our
events
troops.
evolve over the coming days, my team and I will continue to share the information and update the American people on exactly where things are. We'll use every resource necessary to
he's
carry
closing
out
his
the
book.
mission at hand and bring to safety
$10 says he
American
wants to answer
citizens
questions.
and our Afghan allies. This is our focus now. And when this
Don't
is
focus on the
finished,
border.
we will complete our military withdrawal and finally bring to an end 20 years of American military action in Afghanistan. Thank you. May God bless you, our troops and our diplomats and all those serving in harm's way. And now I'll take questions. AP.
Oh, who am I paying
Zeke
$10
Miller.
to? He already has a list. I can't hear his question.
Afghanistan, but you also promised not to help to bring out those who helped America in its war effort. We've seen these heart-wrenching images at the Kabul airport of people trying to get there, say nothing of the people who can't get to that airport. You made the commitment to get American
Take
troops
the
out,
freaking mask
to
off.
get
Are you
American
vaccinated?
citizens out. Will you make the same commitment to those who assisted in the American war effort over the last 20 years, number one? And then number two, what is your message to America's partners around the world who have
stand
criticized not the withdrawal, but the conduct of that withdrawal and made them question America's credibility on the world stage?
I have seen no question of our credibility from our allies around the world.
Yeah.
I've spoken with our NATO allies. We've spoken with NATO allies, the Secretary of State. Our National Security Advisor has been in contact with his counterparts throughout the world and our allies, as has the General, I keep calling him a General, but my Secretary of Defense. The fact of the matter is, I have not seen that. As a matter of fact, the exact opposite I've gotten. The exact opposite thing is we're acting with dispatch. We're acting, committing to what we said we would do. Look, let's put this thing in perspective here. What interest do we
Don't talk
have
about Trump.
in Afghanistan at this point with al-Qaeda gone? We went to Afghanistan for the express purpose of getting rid of al-Qaeda in Afghanistan, as well as getting Osama bin Laden. And we did. Just imagine that attack, if bin Laden had decided with al-Qaeda to launch an attack from Yemen, would we ever gone to Afghanistan? Would there ever be any reason we'd be in Afghanistan? Controlled by the Taliban? What is the national interest of the United States in that circumstance? We went and did the mission. You've known my position for a long, long time.
I don't think anyone's
It's time
question-
to
Oh,
end
getting a little
this
shaky.
war. The estimates of the cost of this war over the last 20
Yeah,
years
first practice
range from
that.
a minimum of $1 trillion
I don't think anyone's
to
arguing
a think
not
tank at one
to
of the
leave
universities
Afghanistan. I
saying
think people
$2
are
trillion.
arguing
That's
how
somewhere
we
between
left
$150
Afghanistan.
million a day
But,
and $300 million
that's what
a
you
day.
are as a politician. You don't
The threat from
talk about
terrorism
the
has
real issue. You just
metastasized.
talk about things
There's a
people can
greater
agree with
danger
already.
from ISIS and Al Qaeda and all these affiliates in other countries by far than there is from Afghanistan. And we're going to retain an over-the-horizon capability that if they were to come back to be able to take them out, surgically move. So this is where we should be. This is about America leading the world, and all our allies have agreed with that. And by the way, before I made this decision, I was at the G7 as well as met with our NATO partners. And I told them all, every one of them knew and agreed with the decision I made to jointly end our involvement in Afghanistan. The first part of your question was, I can't remember now.
Would you commit to the same commitment? Would you make the same commitment to bring out Afghans who assisted in the war effort?
Yes,
I mean-
yes, we're making the same commitment. There's no one more important
To be
than
fair to
bringing American
Biden, I didn't
citizens
remember the
out.
second
I
question
acknowledge
either.
that. But they're equally important almost is all those SIVs we call them, who in fact helped us. They were translators. They went into battle with us. They were part of the operation. As well as we're also trying to get out as many NGOs, non-government organizations, women's organizations, et cetera. We're doing all we can. In the meantime, Secretary Blinken and I am going to be working with our allies to see to it that we can bring international pressure on the Taliban they're looking to gain some legitimacy. They're
Right.
going to have to figure out how they're going to maintain that country.
They need
There's
more
gonna be
diverse people
harsh
in their
conditions.
leadership. They
Strong
need
conditions we're going to apply.
be
and it'll
about
depend
equality.
on whether they get help.
They need to drop
based on
some of the
whether or
things
not
they
how
believe in
and
Sharia
well
law.
They treat
This is what happens when you don't
women and
understand an
girls,
enemy.
How they treat their citizens. So
Don't
this is just beginning in that score.
Believe this message.
They passed the
Taliban
31st to make that happen, to
always
bring
been
all
the
the
same.
Americans out, to bring those SIVs out.
I think we can get it done by then, but we're going to make that judgment as we go. Now, Justin Sink of Bloomberg.
Mr. President. You just said that you would keep a laser focus on counterterrorism efforts and that you don't see as great of a threat of terrorism from Afghanistan as other parts of the world. But if you and your administration so badly misassessed how quickly the Taliban would sweep through Afghanistan, and we no longer have an embassy there
There's no
from
way
which
they
to run
misassessed.
intelligence
They knew.
operations,
There's
how
no
can you
way.
at all be confident of your assessment of the risk of terrorism and the ability of the U.S. to conduct over-the-horizon missions to keep it in check? Can you tell Americans that
Right.
they're safe and
Exactly,
will remain
BB.
safe from terror attacks in Afghanistan?
I think you're comparing apples and oranges. One question was whether or not the Afghan forces we trained up would stay and fight in their own civil war they had going on. No one, I shouldn't say no one, the consensus was that it was highly unlikely that in 11 days they'd collapse and fall and the leader of Afghanistan would flee the country. That's a very different question than whether or not there is the ability to observe whether or not large groups of terrorists begin to accumulate in a particular area in Afghanistan to plot against the United States of America. That's why we retained an over-the-horizon capability to go in and do something about that if that occurs. But in the meantime, we know what's happened around the world. We know what's happening in terms of what's going on in other countries where there is a significant rise of terrorist organizations in the Middle East, in East Africa, and other places. And so the bottom line is we're dealing with those terrorist threats from other parts of the world and failed states without
Seriously,
permanent
Tiger Man.
military, without permanent military presence there.
It's really
we have to
sad.
do the same in Afghanistan.
Sir, just on that initial assessment, we learned over the last 24 hours
so
that there was
scared
a
to ask a
dissent
question.
cable from the State Department.
Sure.
saying that the Taliban would come faster through Afghanistan. Can you say why, after that cable was issued, the U.S. didn't do more to get Americans
got
out?
all kinds of cables, all kinds of advice. If you notice, it ranged from this group saying that they didn't say it'd fall when it would fall, when it did fall, but saying that it would fall, to others saying it wouldn't happen for a long time and they'd be able to sustain themselves through the end of the year. I made the decision. The buck stops with me. I took the consensus opinion.
Right, that's why it's your
The
fault.
consensus opinion was that, in fact, it would not occur, if it occurred, until later in the year. So it was my decision.
Exactly. Later in the year when it's winter
Now,
and
I
they're
got-
not going to fight.
My next is Stephanie Ramos, ABC.
Oh, you pulled out a card?
Thank you, Mr. President. Two questions for
I know what you're
you.
gonna ask
The
me.
military has secured the airport, as you mentioned, but will you sign off on sending U.S. troops into Kabul to evacuate Americans who haven't been able to get to the airport safely?
We have no indication that they haven't been able to get in Kabul through the airport. We've made an agreement with the Taliban thus far. They've allowed them to go through. It's in their interest for them to go through. So we know of no circumstance where American citizens are carrying an American passport are trying to get through to the airport. But we will do whatever needs to be done to see to it they get to the airport.
And
Thank
one more, Mr. President. Last month, my colleague Martha Raddatz interviewed Abdul, an interpreter who was on the front lines with U.S. forces in Afghanistan. Overnight, we received a photo of Taliban militants coming to the door of his home, literally hunting him down. Thankfully, he was able to escape, but he is obviously still in mortal danger. What would be your message to Abdul, his wife, and his 3 young daughters?
Sorry.
We want you to be able to get to the airport. Contact us. We'll see whatever we can do to get you there. We've got to get you out. We are committed to deal with you, your wife, and your child, to get all 3 of you out of Afghanistan. That's the commitment.
Thank you, sir.
Meredith Lee of PBS NewsHour.
Oh, here's a hard-hitting question. PBS?
You mentioned just now using every resource available for evacuations. Why haven't you ordered the military to expand the security perimeter around the Kabul airport? Do you have any plans to do so, given that will likely require more U.S. troops? And are you considering rescue operations to recover Americans and Afghan allies stuck behind Taliban checkpoints?
The answer is yes to the last question. We're considering every opportunity and every means by which we could get folks to the airport. That's number one. Number two, the reason why we have not gone out and started and set up a perimeter way outside the airport in Kabul is that it's likely to draw an awful lot of unintended consequences in terms of people who, in fact, are not part of the Taliban. We've been in constant contact with the Taliban leadership
just stops.
on the ground in Kabul, as well as the Taliban leadership at Daho. And we've been coordinating what we were doing. That's why we were able, for example, how we got all of our embassy personnel out, how we got everyone out of the embassy safely. That was the distance. That's how we helped get the French out and out of their embassy. So the question remains, there will be judgments made on the ground by the military commanders at the moment, and that I cannot second guess each of those judgments to be made. But the idea of,
I bet this is the last question.
again, let me get back to the fundamental point I made at the outset. When the decision was made by me that, and it was made some time ago, and I ran 4 presidents saying I wanted to get us out of Afghanistan. One of the things that is a reality is people now say to me,
This
and
is
to
his
others,
closing
and
argument.
many of you say it on air, that why did we have to move because no Americans are being attacked? Why did we withdraw those, why did we agree to withdraw 2,500 troops? No Americans are being attacked. As I said before, the reason they weren't being attacked was part
Probably a
of an
Parmesan
agreement that
cheese
Trump
brain.
had made
Beep, beep.
a year earlier. We will leave by May 1st, he said, as long as there's no attack on Americans in that year period. Number one. Number two, the Taliban was taking large swaths of the countryside, north and south. None of the major areas, none of the major points of the capitals of each of these provinces. But they were all over the country. And the idea that if I had said on May the 2nd or 3rd, we are not leaving, we are staying, does anybody truly believe that I would not have had to put in significantly more American forces, send your sons, your daughters, like my son was sent to Iraq, to maybe die? And for what? For what? So the only rational thing to do was to set up and pre-position American forces for the purpose of evacuation and the aircraft to pre-position
That was a bold
those
statement.
ahead of time so that we would be able to begin the process of evacuation of American citizens, SIVs, and others who helped us. The last point I'll make is this. Look,
I told you this
if
was the last
we
point.
had decided 15 years ago
Could feel it.
to leave Afghanistan, it would have been really difficult. If we decided 5 years ago, if we continued the war for another decade and tried to leave, there's no way in which you'd be able to leave Afghanistan without there being some of what you're seeing now. But what we've done so far is we've been able to get a large number of Americans out, all our personnel at the embassy out, and so on. And thank God, so far, knock on wood, we're in a different position. Scott Detro, Scott,
You just said that was his last thing he was going to say. Didn't he answer the question?
NPR.
NPR. Oh, here's another.
Thank you, Mr. President. I just want to follow up on something you said a moment ago. You said that there's no circumstances where American citizens cannot get to the airport. That doesn't really square with the images we're seeing around the airport, with the reporting on the ground from our colleagues who are describing chaos and violence. Are you saying unequivocally that any American who wants to get to the airport is getting there and getting past the security barrier and to the planes where they want to go?
I thought the question was, how can they get through to the airport outside the airport? And the answer is, to the best of our knowledge, the Taliban checkpoints, they are letting through people showing American passports.
So I think to Aquaman.
Now, that's a different question when they get into the rush and crowd of all the folks just outside the wall near the airport. That's why we had to, I guess, was it yesterday or the day before, we went over the wall and brought in, how many? 169 Americans. So it is a process to try to figure out how we deal with the mad rush of non-Americans, those who didn't help, those who were not on the priority list, just any Afghan to be able to get out of the country. And so my guess is that
Tiger,
no matter
man.
what,
Get it,
under
yeah.
what circumstances,
Get a Biden tattoo on your arm.
anyone,
Put it on your butt.
There's not a whole lot of Afghanis. There's a whole lot of Afghanis that just as soon come to America, whether they're any involvement with the United States in the past at all, rather than stay under Taliban rule or any rule. So what I was saying is that we have an agreement that they will let pass through the checkpoints that the Taliban control, let Americans through.
But given this, given the negotiations with the Taliban, the scenes that we're seeing, can you
NPR is
just
not
fully
having
explain why the plan wasn't to go ahead with these evacuations of both Americans and allies before the drawdowns began, before Bagram was closed, looking back several months? Because whether it was now or several months from now, there seems to be a broad consensus that the Taliban would make these gains and these would be needed at some point.
Well, yeah,
Exactly,
at
Sherry.
some point. But the point was that although we were in contact with the Taliban and Doha for this whole period of time, at some point wasn't expected to be the total demise of the Afghan National Force, which was 300 persons. Let's assume the Afghan National Force had continued to fight and they were surrounding Kabul. Be a very different story, very different story. But the overwhelming consensus was that they were not going to collapse. The Afghan forces, they were not going to leave. They were not going to just abandon and then put down their arms and take off.
Well, and we
So
stopped
that's
supporting
what's
them,
happened.
be honest.
Thank you very, very much. Thank you.
Why do you continue to trust the Taliban, Mr. President? Why do you continue to trust their pledges, Mr. President?
I hate when reporters just scream as they walk out.
You gotta have your little moment.
All right, that was it. What are you guys' thoughts on Biden? Because good Lord, I don't know. It was exactly how I thought it would be. I don't know about you, but there's my mom. Oh, Biden. What a boring. It was exactly what you thought. He held his own. He's going to Delaware. I can't believe he actually answered questions. Yes, they were all questions by liberal media, and the last two, PBS and NPR. I could believe at least they pressed him a little bit. What time zone? I'm in the Mountain Time Zone. What a complete show. I know. Anywho, well, I'm going to go and do something outside and be active. So we're doomed. God, I know. I'm trying not to join that bandwagon of we're doomed because I just don't. I want there to be hope. Without hope, there's nothing to live for. So have hope. Hope for something in your life. We're all going to die. So I don't know how, but we are. So enjoy your day. Enjoy your time. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I appreciate every single one of you guys. Seriously, it means so much to me that you guys stop by and hang out with me during this time. And I'll see you on the next episode of the Derek O'Shea Show. Be sure to check out my videos I just recently did if you haven't already. But I appreciate you guys so much. I honestly do. Thank you guys so much. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Love you.